I am Rosie Noel, the first female gunny Purple Heart recipient. There I was riding my bike. I was actually riding my bike on the way to the armory to draw my weapon, and I was hit by a piece of shrapnel from an indirect fired rocket. To give you an idea, I was hit by a piece of shrapnel the size of my thumb, 1.5 inches. Being a female first for anything, I don't think anybody sets out to receive a Purple Heart. When I was wounded though, they wanted me to leave the combat environment. They felt that I was a mother with children and I should go home. But to me, I was a gunnery sergeant. I was not Rosie Noel, I was Gunnery Sergeant Noel, and it was my responsibility to stay, and as a Marine, we go home on our terms, not the insurgents. So people didn't have that fodder to say that I went home because I was wounded and a woman and couldn't handle it. They saw that I was a Marine and I did my job. Because I was on the way to the armory, and when I got hit, I thought I was just hit by a piece of debris, and so I was kind of irritated. I was pissed, but I wasn't pissed because I was hit. I was irritated because I thought I was going to get stuck at the armory until the all clear was given. And it wasn't until moments later that I realized that I had been struck by something that had caused me to bleed, and so I felt the warmness on my neck. When I was wounded, I actually thought I was hit by a piece of debris. I had no idea that I was actually hit by a piece of shrapnel. When I went to the armory, I banged on the hatch, the door, and a young corporal answered, and he, just by the look on his face, I knew it wasn't just a minor injury. And I was telling him to get me a pressure bandage, and he was taking too long to get a pressure bandage, so I was like, just get me anything. And he ended up giving me a green t-shirt to at least try to stop the bleeding. And later on I was given pictures from Marines that were still there of puddles of blood on the ground. They removed the shrapnel in Al-Assad, and then I was airlifted to Balad, and in Balad they repaired the nerve damage to my face. I was supposed to go on to Longstuhl, where they were supposed to wire my mouth shut because I had a broken jaw and put a steel plate in, but I didn't want to leave my Marines. So when confronted with the options, and I talked with the doctor, and he said that as long as I promised to eat soft foods, and he would let me go back. And so I never even went on to Longstuhl or Bethesda. My mother was watching my 2 children while I was deployed, and their father was also deployed. And she got a phone call at around 3:45 in the morning. And when you have a child in a combat environment and you get a phone call in the middle of the night, early in the morning, it's never good news. And she told me she sat straight up in bed. When I woke up in Balad, they put a sat phone in my hand and told me my mother was on the other end. And of course I immediately wanted to know who called my mother, because I didn't think it was necessary.
For more on this story, go to themuseumofthemarine.org.